Most people think good travel gear has to be expensive, but after testing hundreds of travel products over the last few years, I noticed something. Some of the gadgets I use the most are also some of the cheapest, and that's exactly what this video is about. So hey, Johannes from Gear Up Your Life here, and today I'll show you 20 surprisingly affordable travel gadgets that are genuinely high quality and small enough to earn a permanent spot in your carry-on. And no, I'm not talking about another universal travel adapter, noise-cancelling headphones, or a premium suitcase. You've seen those 1,000 times already. Instead, these are the products I actually keep using trip after trip because they solve real travel problems without costing a fortune. First off, we have these simple TSA locks from Sherlock, and I think pretty much everyone has seen something like this before, but it's still one of the easiest and best ways to secure your luggage while traveling. Whether that's a carry-on suitcase, a backpack, or even a duffel bag, you simply attach it through the zippers, set your code, and you're done. They're TSA approved, easy to use, and usually cost only around $10 to $15 depending on the version you buy. Now the main downside is that they're obviously a little heavier and slightly less convenient for everyday use. And because they're very visible, anyone can immediately see that you're using a lock. That being said, I still think they're absolutely worth having. Our next gadget is something that has become a travel essential for me over the last few years, luggage trackers. And for a long time my favorite was this tile tracker, which I use for my keys, luggage, and sometimes even my car. But recently I've switched over to these U-Green trackers. Now don't get me wrong, the tile isn't bad, but because it uses its own app and tracking network, I personally found it less flexible and sometimes less accurate while traveling. The U-Green trackers on the other hand work directly with Apple's Find My network, and if you're using Samsung, similar versions are available for SmartThings as well. I actually bought this 4-pack, which currently costs around $30 total, so you're looking at roughly $7 to $8 per tracker, which I think is more than fair. They even come with small stickers, which makes it easy to identify which tracker belongs to which item. Personally, I use one in my carry-on backpack, one in my everyday bag, one on my keys, and the fourth one is currently with my girlfriend for her carry-on. And considering the price, the tracking features, and the peace of mind they provide while traveling, I genuinely think they're one of the best affordable travel upgrades you can make. Our next gadget is this TomTok Aviator T33 chest bag for around $45. And if you're someone who likes to travel light, I genuinely think a small sling bag like this can be one of the most useful things you can bring. Instead of carrying your phone, wallet, earbuds, power bank, passport, and keys in different pockets, everything stays organized in one place while still keeping your setup lightweight and compact. As you can see in the video, I'm using the black version here, but it also comes in a few different colors and sizes depending on how much capacity you need. What impressed me most is the overall build quality for the price. The bag uses a lightweight ripstop nylon fabric with a water-resistant coating, so it feels durable while staying extremely light. You also get smooth YKK zippers, a solid Duraflex buckle, and overall the hardware feels much more premium than you'd expect at this price point. Organization is another strong point. There's a quick access front pocket, a larger main compartment with multiple internal pockets for cables, power banks, AirPods, and other essentials, plus a hidden rear pocket that's perfect for your wallet or passport while traveling. It's also surprisingly comfortable to wear, sits close to your body, and feels very stable while walking around. So whether you're exploring a city, heading through an airport, or simply want something smaller than a backpack, I think this is an excellent option and one of the best value sling bags currently available. Next up is this digital luggage scale from Free2, and while it might not be the most exciting gadget in this video, it has saved me from overweight baggage fees more than once. The idea is incredibly simple. Before heading to the airport, you just attach it to your backpack, carry-on, or checked suitcase. Lift it up for a few seconds and it instantly tells you the exact weight, and especially if you're traveling carry-on only, that can make a huge difference because many airlines are becoming stricter with their weight limits. What I also like is that it's small enough to throw into any backpack, tech pouch, or even a jacket pocket without taking up any noticeable space. Mine has been working for over 2 years now, so despite costing only around $10, it's been surprisingly reliable, and that's exactly why it fits perfectly into this video. It's affordable, built well, and solves a very real travel problem before it becomes an expensive one at the airport. Next up is the Osprey Ultralight Stuff Pack for around $50. And yes, it used to be about $10 cheaper, but I still think it's absolutely worth it. Because unlike many foldable backpacks, this doesn't feel like a cheap emergency bag. It feels like a real backpack that just happens to pack down incredibly small. As you can see in the video, it folds into its own pocket, takes up almost no space in your luggage, and weighs next to nothing. Despite that, you still get around 18 liters of capacity, durable ripstop nylon fabric, 2 water bottle pockets, comfortable mesh shoulder straps, and enough room for a jacket, camera, snacks, water bottle, or basically everything you need for a day trip. And that's exactly why I keep bringing it on so many trips. You can travel with a single carry-on backpack, pull this out once you arrive, and suddenly have a proper day pack for exploring a city, heading to the beach, or going on a hike. So while it's not the cheapest option version anymore, I still think it's one of the best foldable Daypacks currently available and one I've personally used for years. Next up are these simple Velcro cable ties, and while they might not look particularly exciting, they're one of those products I end up using on almost every trip, because if you've ever opened your backpack and found a charging cable wrapped around your power bank, headphones and half of your tech pouch, you already know the problem. The idea is incredibly simple. You just wrap them around your cables, chargers or other accessories and everything stays organized and easy to find. They cost only a few dollars, last for years, take up basically no space and make your entire packing setup feel cleaner and more organized. And for carry-on travel, where every bit of organization matters, I think they're absolutely worth having. The next gadget is this ESR MagSafe Wallet. And a few months ago, I actually used this thing a lot more than I do today. Not because there's anything wrong with it, I still think it's excellent. I simply stopped using this specific color as much. Luckily, ESR offers it in a bunch of different colors, including a simple black version that most people will probably prefer anyway. The reason I wanted to include it in this video is the built-in Apple Find My functionality, because unlike a normal wallet, you can actually track it directly through Apple's Find My network if you ever lose it. And for travel, that's a feature I genuinely loved using. Whether it's in an Airbnb, a hotel room, a cafe, or somewhere in your backpack, it's just nice knowing you can quickly locate it if it goes missing. On top of that, it's also a really solid wallet. The magnetic connection is surprisingly strong. It holds around 3 to 4 cards comfortably, and the vegan leather finish still looks great even after a lot of use. You also get a small finger loop on the back, which makes holding your phone a bit more comfortable and can even double as a small stand when watching videos. And considering it usually costs around $25 to $30, I think it's a really interesting option if you already use an iPhone and want a wallet that does a bit more than just hold your cards. Next up is this flight phone holder from Wicked Chili, and this is one of those gadgets that looks incredibly simple but becomes surprisingly useful once you start flying more often. The idea is pretty straightforward. You simply attach it to the seat in front of you, place your phone inside, and suddenly you can watch movies, YouTube videos, or even download content much more comfortably without holding your phone for an entire flight. Everything feels stable, easy to set up, and especially on longer flights, it makes a bigger difference than you might expect. And unlike a lot of typical airport gadgets, this one is actually small enough that I permanently keep it in my backpack. As you can see in the video, I've even used it at home while eating or watching something, so it's not limited to flights either. And considering it usually costs around $9, I think it's a very easy upgrade for anyone who spends a decent amount of time in airplanes. Our ninth gadget is the TomTok Tech Pouch right here. And in my opinion, this is basically the definition of an affordable travel product that still delivers surprisingly high quality. Depending on the size, it usually costs around $20 to $25 and is perfect for organizing all the smaller tech accessories most of us travel with. Whether it's charging cables, power banks, adapters, SSDs, AirPods, or other essentials, having everything in one place simply makes traveling easier. The exterior uses a durable, water-resistant recycled polyester fabric, while the inside offers multiple pockets and compartments that keep everything organized and easy to find. And as you can see in the video, it can actually hold a surprising amount of gear despite the compact size. It even stands upright on a desk, which is something I use all the time while traveling, and for around $20 to $25, I genuinely think this is one of the best value tech pouches currently available. Next up are these gravel silicone travel bottles, and if you've ever traveled carry-on only, you've probably run into the same problem I did. Most travel bottles either leak, feel cheap, or break after a couple of trips. These are basically the opposite. They're made from a soft silicone material that's easy to squeeze, surprisingly durable, and designed specifically for travel. What I personally like most is the larger opening at the top because it makes refilling them much easier compared to a lot of cheaper alternatives. They're also TSA friendly, completely reusable, and available in different sizes depending on what you normally bring with you. So whether it's shampoo, body wash, sunscreen, or any other liquid, they help you avoid buying travel size products over and over again. And while they're not the cheapest bottles you can buy, I think the quality easily justifies the price, especially if you travel regularly and want something that will last for years instead of just a few trips. Next up is the Ruben G5 flashlight, and I genuinely think this is the perfect starter flashlight for people who think they don't need a flashlight, because I used to be exactly the same. Then I started carrying one while traveling, and now it's almost always somewhere in my backpack. For around $20, you get a surprisingly bright flashlight that's small enough to fit into basically any pocket, sling bag, or tech pouch. What I personally like most are the different light colors. Especially the warmer modes are great at night because they give you enough light without instantly waking yourself up completely when getting up in the middle of the night. But maybe that's just my personal pain point. It also charges via USB-C. The light can be adjusted to different angles depending on how you want to use it, and you can get it in both black and this green color, which I personally really like. So if you've never carried a flashlight before, I think this is a great place to start. Next up we have this wireless keyboard from Ugreen, and while it comes with some nice features, it's of course not perfect. First of all, this one isn't foldable, and that's actually intentional. I already own the foldable keyboard from Sams's, which costs around $40, but after using it for quite a while, I realized that I almost always just pack the keyboard keyboard flat inside my backpack anyway. So for me, the foldable design ended up not mattering nearly as much as I expected. This U-green version only costs around $10, is completely wireless, and works surprisingly well for the price. It also has small fold-out feet on the bottom, which give it a better typing angle and help it stay stable on a table. The main reason I use it comes down to a simple pain point. Sometimes I don't want to bring my MacBook, especially on shorter city trips, but I still want to answer emails, do a bit of work, or write parts of my newsletter from my phone or tablet. And in those situations, having a proper keyboard makes a huge difference. The only downside is that it runs on batteries, and unfortunately they aren't included. That's always a little annoying, but for around $10 it's really hard to complain. So overall, I think it's a surprisingly solid travel keyboard for the price. Next up is a product you've probably seen quite a few times lately. This small Pill-A-Go pill container in stainless steel for around $10. And while it might not be the most exciting gadget in this video, it's one of those things that's incredibly nice to have when you actually need it. The container is made from stainless steel, completely waterproof, and small enough to attach to your keys, backpack, or simply throw into a tech pouch and forget about it. Despite the compact size, there's still enough space for a few pills, which is usually more than enough for a full day, a weekend trip, or just having some basics with you while traveling. What I also like is that it feels surprisingly premium for such a simple product. The threading is smooth, everything feels solid, and it never accidentally opens inside your bag. And because it's waterproof, I also don't have to worry about rain, humidity, or liquids getting inside while traveling. Because it takes up basically no space at all, it's one of those travel gadgets I always end up bringing without even thinking about it. For around $10, I think it's a simple but genuinely useful little upgrade for almost any traveler. Next up is the Emzu Sleep Mask, and this is actually one of the few travel products that has become a daily essential in my regular life as well. I use it almost every night, whether I'm at home, in a hotel, or on a long flight. And I don't say this very often, but it genuinely improved my sleep. Ever since I started using it, I fall asleep easier, stay asleep longer, and simply get better rest overall. The quality is also surprisingly good for the price. The materials feel soft and comfortable, while the contour design gives your eyes enough space so there's no pressure while sleeping. It also blocks light extremely well, which makes a huge difference when you're trying to sleep on planes, in hotels, or anywhere with less than perfect conditions. And while you can find sleep masks for just a few dollars online, the difference in comfort is very noticeable. At around $15, I think this is still a fantastic value and one of the best sleep upgrades you can buy for travel and everyday life. Next up is this ESR MagSafe Car Mount, and to be honest, it's only in this video, because after using it for such a long time, I genuinely think the combination of quality, price, and reliability deserves a spot here. Because whether you're renting a car while traveling or using your own car at home, having a proper place for your phone makes a huge difference. You simply attach your phone magnetically, it locks into place instantly, and at the same time charges wirelessly up to 15 watts. What I also really like is that it has a small cooling fan built in, which helps keep your phone cooler while charging and using navigation. The magnet is strong, the mount feels very secure, and after using it for quite a while now, it's simply one of those products that just works. And for around $40, I think it's a great travel tech gadget if you regularly use Google Maps or Apple Maps while driving. Next up is the TomTok Navigator T66 Lightweight in the 40-litre ripstop version. And while it's definitely the biggest product in this video, I still think it belongs here because for around $90 to $100, it offers incredible value. With 40 litres of capacity, you get enough space for clothes, tech, and travel essentials for anything from a weekend trip to several weeks of travel, all in a single backpack. What I personally like most is that it doesn't look like a typical bulky travel backpack. The design is clean, lightweight, and works just as well for everyday use as it does for flights and longer trips. You also get durable ripstop materials, YKK zippers, a dedicated laptop compartment, water bottle pockets, compression straps, and overall build quality that feels much more premium than the price suggests. For me, that's what makes this backpack such a great value. It's affordable, versatile, and can easily replace multiple bags for many travelers. And if you want a much deeper look at everything it can do, I've got a full review on my review channel where I cover the backpack in much more detail. So next, I'll keep it short. We have the Nano Bag. And most of the viewers probably already know this one because I've mentioned it way too many times at this point, but I still think it's one of the best travel products I've ever bought because it folds down to almost nothing, weighs only a few ounces, and yet gives you a surprisingly large shopping bag whenever you need one. Whether it's groceries, beach gear, extra snacks, or simply carrying a few things back to your hotel, it's one of those products that constantly comes in handy while traveling. And since it permanently lives attached to my backpack with a small carabiner, I basically always have it with me without even noticing it. For around $20, I still think it's absolutely worth it and deserve its spot in this video completely. Next up is this clear toiletry bag from Osprey. And if you're still using random Ziploc bags or constantly moving your liquids around at airport security, this is a really simple upgrade. The idea is pretty straightforward. It's a TSA-friendly clear toiletry bag that lets you keep all your travel liquids organized and visible in one place, which makes airport security a lot less annoying. The build quality is also surprisingly good for something this simple. The material feels durable, the zipper is solid, and unlike many cheaper alternatives, it actually feels like something that can survive years of travel. And the reason I wanted to include it in this video is because it's currently heavily discounted. Normally it's closer to around $15, but right now you can often find it for around $7, which I think is an absolute steal. And as always, you'll find links to all the products featured gadget in this video down in the description below, which also helps support the channel. But let's continue. Next up is this inflatable travel pillow from Kmart for around $13. And what I personally like most about it is how incredibly small it packs down. Once deflated, it takes up barely any space in your backpack, sling bag, or carry-on, which is exactly what you want from a travel pillow. It also comes with a small pouch, and if you want to, you can even attach it to the outside of your backpack with a carabiner to save even more space inside. And while inflatable pillows are never going to feel exactly like your bed at home, I still think this is a great option for flights, train rides, buses, or anytime you want a bit more comfort without carrying a bulky neck pillow around. And for around $13, I think it's a pretty easy recommendation for frequent travelers. Last but not least, we have the Awala Free Sip. And after using this bottle for quite a while now, I completely understand why it became so popular. The main reason is the lid design, because you can either drink through the built-in straw or use the larger opening like a normal bottle depending on the situation. I also really like that the drinking part stays completely covered when closed, which is surprisingly useful while traveling. The insulation is great, it's comfortable to carry around, easy to clean, and overall just feels like a very well thought out product. At around $25 to $30 is not the cheapest bottle out there, but if you want one bottle for travel, the gym, work, and everyday life, I think it's absolutely worth it. And make sure to stay until the end because I've still got 4 bonus travel gadgets coming up that almost made the main list. Our first bonus gadget is the Nomadic Travel Wallet, and this is probably one of the most minimal wallets I've used so far. It's slim, lightweight, and takes up almost no space while still holding all the essentials like cards, cash, and a few smaller documents. What I like most is that it doesn't create a huge bulge in your pocket like traditional wallets often do. So if you're trying to keep your travel setup as compact as possible, this is a really nice option. The next bonus gadget is the Sea to Summit clothesline, and while this definitely isn't something every traveler needs, it can be surprisingly useful, because whenever you want to wash a few clothes in a hotel, Airbnb, hostel, or even while camping, you suddenly have a place to dry everything. The best part is that it packs down incredibly small and weighs almost nothing, so for longer trips especially, it's one of those little gadgets that can come in handy more often than you'd think. Another bonus gadget is the AeroPress coffee maker, and if you're a coffee person, you probably already know why this thing has such a loyal fan base. It's lightweight, durable, easy to clean, and makes surprisingly good coffee almost anywhere. Whether you're staying in hotels, Airbnbs, hostels, or even camping, it gives you a simple way to make your own coffee without relying on expensive cafes every single day, and for many travelers, that alone makes it worth bringing. And the last bonus gadget is the JBL Clip 5. This is basically my favorite travel speaker right now. It's compact, sounds surprisingly good for the size, and thanks to the built-in clip, you can easily attach it to a backpack, beach setup, or pretty much anywhere else. The battery life is excellent, it's waterproof, and overall it's just a really fun gadget to have on trips, especially if you spend time at the beach, in Airbnbs, on road trips, or simply enjoy having some music with you while traveling. Alright, and with that, we're done. If you enjoyed this one, the video on the left is definitely for you. You'll find even more travel gadgets, packing setups, and carry-on essentials over there. And if you're not subscribed yet, you can do that right here on the right. Thanks a lot for watching all the way to the end, and let me know down in the comments which of these gadgets you'd actually bring on your next trip. And as always, safe travels, guys.